Good evening everyone and welcome to tonight's live video to kick off Joker Week. Thank you everyone for their kind messages. Obviously I was taken into hospital yesterday. It was nothing too serious thankfully, but I was determined to get home so that I could kick off Joker Week in style. So Joker Week, I'm wearing my Joker hoodie. I'm not standing up because I'm dead frumpy the night, so I've got Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger and Jared Leto on my hoodie. So tonight we are going to talk about Joker's history and Joker origin theories as well. So it's quite mixed. Obviously I've been putting up a couple of questions for you all to ask, and so far just under 4,000 hits already, which is really good. I know a lot of people have been buzzing about Joker Week, so it's really been excited, and I didn't want to disappoint you all. As it stands just now, I wasn't able to go live on YouTube. However, after we have done this live, I'm saving the videos, editing them and then putting them up onto YouTube as well, so this will be on YouTube. So let's start. Joker is probably one of the biggest villain comic book characters to ever grace book and screen. Joker, now I can't remember how long it's been that I've loved the Joker. I can just remember from a little girl being shown Tim Burton's Batman with Jack Nicholson of course, and watching the reruns of Adam West's Batman with Cesar Romero, and for some reason I liked the character. He was always kind of like a prankster, he was funny, but of course when you went into the Tim Burton aspect of it, he was quite sinister, cynical and just damn right insane. Obviously Jack Nicholson plays that really well. And over the years of course we have seen different Jokers. We have seen the gangster, we have seen the anarchist, we've seen the psychopath, we've seen the comedy elements, we've seen animations, we've seen computer games, and of course we have seen the comic books as well. So as I was doing some research, I don't know why the new Joker film didn't come out next year, namely April 25th next year, because it would have actually been the 80th anniversary of the release of the Joker character. His first appearance was in Batman #1 comic on the 25th of April 1940, and he was created by Bill Finger, Bob Kane and Jerry Robinson. His notable aliases are of course the Red Hood and teams that he... Well, let's be honest, the Joker didn't really play very fair with others, let's be frank here. But he was affiliated with two main teams, and that was the Injustice League and the Injustice Gang, which is probably why you find him in the likes of the Injustice game. His abilities are quite simple, insane, but criminal mastermind, expert chemist, and uses weaponised props and toxins. Now, believe it or not, the Joker was actually meant to be killed off quite quick on in the comic books. They didn't think that people would appreciate the character for some reason, but it turned out that the Joker actually became one of the biggest hits, and of course, in our day and age, we all know and love the Joker. And the fact that he's getting his own standalone movie is absolutely insane. I mean, I don't think we've really seen a proper standalone film for a villain apart from in MCU's Venom more than anything. But he has been with us for quite some time, there is no doubt about that, and he has went through specific ages. There's been like obviously the golden age and things like that, and that has been for the likes of... He was in the late 50s, he became a prankster, and then when he went into the 70s, he became very dark and sinister, and then of course it churned out into different possible scenarios. I mean, when people ask me about who the favourite Joker is, it's very hard to distinguish because everybody plays them very differently. They bring something new to the table. So what I think makes the Joker quite iconic is the fact that he hasn't got any superpowers. He's kind of like Batman. He needs technology more than anything to be the character that he is. You know, of course, in the 90s as well, they introduced his romantic counterpart, Harley Quinn, Dr. Harley Quinzel, who inevitably became Harley Quinn. And from there on, I think a lot of people didn't know how to take the Joker, you know, bringing in a love interest, didn't know exactly how it would pan out. And of course, we have had our very own, very first live action Harley Quinn recently with Margot Robbie in Suicide Squad, who of course is retaking on the part for this Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey, sorry. I mean, believe it or not, his obsession with Batman is what we all know him for, but he has been seen to fight other heroes for the likes of Wonder Woman and Superman as well. It's very, very strange. You wouldn't expect Joker to fight off those two, but he has actually fought him. As I said, he has become one of the most iconic comic book characters of all time. Also one of the greatest comic book villains. And what I think makes people love him more is the simple fact of his origins. Now, as I said in the post, I was doing origin theories. That's because there is no one theory. There is multiple theories. So you take it as you get it. So you decide whether you prefer this theory or that theory. And that's what's great about the Joker. The fact that he's very, very mystical as well. You don't actually know his roots. You hear different things about him, you see different things about him, but you don't actually know what is the true story, and that's the beauty of him. Now, like I said, he has went through a lot of reboots, as you would call, or revisions back in those days, back in 1940. But the most common interpretation of the character is, of course, that he was disguised as the Red Hood, which is part of one of the theories. Of course, being pursued by Batman, he fell into a vat of chemicals, became very, very disfigured because of the chemicals, which bleached his skin, coloured his hair green and his lips red, and basically drives him insane. I think everybody knows that story very well in the comic books, but also in 1989's Batman with Jack Nicholson, which actually was a question on UK's TV show The Chase today. An interesting fact for people that don't know, Jack Nicholson was actually credited first in that Batman over Michael Keaton, which was seen as one of the first times a villain has been credited before the hero in a film, but it's mainly because Jack Nicholson had already won Oscars by that point. Michael Keaton wouldn't go back for Batman Returns unless he got top billing, so there's a little bit of fun fact for you. Like I said, the character was introduced in Batman number 1 in 1940, and he announced that he was going to kill 3 of Gotham's prominent citizens. And basically the Joker, doing what he does best, poisoned people, killed them, and they kind of died with a ghastly looking grin on their faces, which again you could revert back to Tim Burton's with the chemicals that he put into all the makeup and food products, that they had this cheesy, horrible grin on their faces as they died. But of course Batman did eventually beat him, and he was sent to prison. Now, going back to in 1951, Detective Comics number 168, the first origin story did come about regarding the Red Hood. Now, there has been multiple stories regarding Red Hood itself. Of course, a struggling man looking for money, got in with the wrong people, of course, became the Red Hood, fell into a vat of chemicals. But there's also another story which is very catching right now, of course, and that is, of course, he is a failed comedian and he gets in with the wrong crowd, thus becoming the Red Hood, which is basically the interpretation look out at the moment for Todd Phillips' new Joker. I don't know if the Red Hood is going to be involved in his story, but it is going down the route of the failed comedian. But there has been a lot of controversy already with Todd Phillips' movie at the fact that it looks too much like Scorsese's The King of Comedy that starred Robert De Niro many, many years ago, which is a classic movie, there is no doubt about that. But all will be probably revealed on Friday for us that haven't seen it yet. But let's go back again. The name Joker simply is because of the way he looked after this fall into the chemicals. He had this strange looking grin, and basically he thought to himself that he was quite funny looking, so it became the Joker. That's how he adopted that name. When the Joker's Silver Age transformation came in 1952, the Joker's millions, the Joker was obsessed with maintaining his illusion of wealth and a celebrity status to criminal folk heroes, and afraid to let Gotham citizens know that he was actually penniless and tricked out his fortune. Again, this could probably revert back to one of the theories of the simple fact that he was a failed comedian as well. I mean, I think the two main theories that we have had over the years is the vat of chemicals and the failed wealthy comedian aspect. However, in the 1970s, he was redefined. They thought, let's go and take him a different route, of course. And they basically made him probably the person that we all know and love as that insane psychopath. The Joker's five-way revenge had the Joker taking violent revenge on the former gang members who had betrayed him. In The Laughing Fish, the character chemically added his face to Gotham's fish and killed bureaucrats who stood in his way. And then, of course, probably the most famous Joker story that has came to be in comic book land is, of course, Batman The Killing Joke, which came out in 1988, which basically built on the 1951 origin story regarding the failed comedian. You know, his wife, he was trying to, you know, prop up his life with his wife, and she was murdered, and basically he is pressured into committing crime under the Red Hood gang, and Batman's interference threw him into the vat of chemicals that disfigured him. Combined with the trauma of his wife dying, he goes insane. I mean, the Joker says himself in that it might not be true, and we actually can revert back to The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger with the multiple "do you want to know how I got these scars?" One of the most famous lines in The Dark Knight. There was multiple things that his dad took a razor blade, his wife, they were struggling for money, again reverts back to that possible theory of the Red Hood, and that's how he got the scars. They couldn't afford to get treatment and things like that. You know, it all kind of falls back, as much as you dress it up any way you want, like the way Heath Ledger's personification of the Joker did, it does tend to fall back onto this Red Hood origins, the failed comedian. Now, in the graphic novel of The Killing Joke, now if anybody has read the graphic novel, it's one of the only very few comic books that I've read a few times, and also the animation came out quite recently with Mark Hamill as the voice of the Joker. It's very graphic. For an animation, it is very, very graphic, and it's a graphic comic book. The Joker shoots and paralyses Barbara Gordon, of course, and tortures her father to prove that it only takes one bad day to drive a normal man insane. But the Batman rescues Gordon and subdues the Joker, and he offers to rehabilitate him. But the Joker refuses, but does show appreciation. You going, thanks very much, I really appreciate it. That's not a problem, don't worry about your connection. It's going to be on Facebook, and it's also going to be on YouTube later, so if you cut out, don't worry. Obviously with The Killing Joke, after the target on Barbara became more of a significant role in later comics regarding Batman. She became like the Oracle, the data gatherer, and a superhero informant who has a revenge in Birds of Prey by shattering the Joker's teeth and destroying his smile. So yeah, kind of gets really, really intense. Going into another story, a death in the family back in 1988. The Joker beats Jason Todd with a crowbar and leaves him to die in an explosion. What a lovely, lovely man. And Todd's death haunts Batman really, really, really bad. But I hope I'm doing well with the Joker stuff. Now, regarding this whole Todd death, I mean, you can actually go to Batman versus Superman, and there has been specifics regarding we don't know if it was Jason Todd or Robin's costume that Batman's got, and it's like you left me to die and things like that. There is huge speculation that they were going to bring Joker into this universe, but of course DC, being an absolute mess is probably the nicest word to use, they decided not to bring in the character until Suicide Squad, and of course Jared Leto became Joker and became extremely controversial, and ultimately they stopped having the Joker, and now we have this standalone film. Check out Batman's White Knight. I will do. I'm open to having lots of new information because it's quite hard to try to keep up with all the Joker work, honestly. When the Joker killed Jason Todd, this was really the first time that Batman really considered killing the Joker. There has been this philosophy, is the Joker actually real? Is it the alter ego of Batman and Bruce Wayne? Who actually is it? There has been that psychological analysis as well. Why has Batman never actually killed the Joker? Is it because they're actually quite similar? Oh, Joker becomes a good guy. I need to check that out. I actually really do need to check that out. You know, there is different things that question marks have been raised. You know, ultimately when there is a comic book character, or even in a film or in a book, bad guy always gets his comeuppance. It's as simple as that. Whereas the Joker never really did get his comeuppance to a certain degree. He was never ever killed by Batman. Sometimes he ended up in Arkham. But like I've just been told on Instagram, Joker becomes a good guy in Batman White Knight. So it's all very multi-dimensional, and that adds to the flavour of why so many people love the Joker. There's a lot. In 1999's No Man's Land storyline, the Joker murders Commissioner Gordon's second wife, Sarah, as she shields a group of infants. Talk about very, very sinister stuff here. He taunts Gordon, who shoots him in the kneecap. Odd place to shoot him. But the Joker, lamenting that he would never walk again, collapses with laughter when he realises that the Commission has avenged Barbara's paralysis. This story also introduces the Joker's girlfriend, Harley Quinn. So that is how we are introduced to the infamous Harley Quinn. Now, before we go into much about this, I know people might jump in and say, Margot Robbie, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm not here to review Harley Quinn. I'm here for Joker only. I do have my reservations regarding Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, but as it stands, the character of Harley Quinn, I'm not a huge fan of. The 2000s, or the noughties as we like to call it, started crossover stories. This is where it gets kind of tricky. The Emperor Joke, in which the Joker steals Mr. Mxyzptlk reality altered power and remakes the universe in his image, torturing and killing Batman daily before resurrecting him. Kind of sounds like Doctor Strange with Romana. Interesting. But when the supervillain tries to destroy the universe, his reluctance to eliminate Batman makes him lose control, and Superman defeats him. So, like I was saying, of course, you had Battle Wonder Woman and Superman. Well, there you go. Superman comes in and beats him in the Emperor's Joke. Broken by his experience, Batman's experiences of death are transferred to Superman by the Spectre so that he can heal him mentally. In Joker's Last Laugh in 2001, the doctors at Arkham Asylum convince the character that he is dying in an attempt to rehabilitate him. Instead, the Joker, flanked by an army of Jokerized supervillains, launches his final crime spree. Believing that Robin has been killed in the chaos, Dick Grayson beats the Joker to death. And the villain succeeds in making a member of the Bat family break their rule of killing. So, yet again, the Joker, I think it was Heath Ledger's personification of the Joker, says you have to break that one little rule to get anywhere. And I think a lot of people... Now, I've had this conversation quite a lot regarding the Joker and Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger is a brilliant Joker, but I'm going to talk about them in more detail over the week. But what you have to remember, as much as Heath Ledger's Joker was fresh, it was different. There is, when you actually sit down and pick out the character, he has got a lot of references to the past Jokers as well. It's all to do with his appearance more than anything, because the Joker's appearance with Heath Ledger was very, very creepy. There's no doubt about that, especially with that tongue flipping quite a lot. He did actually revert back to quite a lot of the old school stories of Joker, and like I say, with basically the Joker breaking Dick Grayson, he broke that rule, and that's what the Joker aimed for Batman quite a lot, especially in The Dark Knight, to break that one rule so that he could get what he wanted. So it's very interesting. In 2005, Under the Hood, a resurrected Todd tries to force Batman to avenge his death by killing the Joker. Batman refuses, arguing that if he allows himself to kill the Joker, he will not be able to stop killing other criminals. Well, that makes complete sense. The Joker kills Alexander Luthor at Infinite Crisis of 2005, and for excluding him from the Secret Society of Supervillains. Yeah, that sounds about right for the Joker, which considers him too unpredictable for membership. Now, if memory serves me right, they also made an animation of that as well, and he kind of took a hissy fit and ran away. In 2006, Batman and Son, a deranged police officer who impersonates Batman, shoots the Joker in the face, scarring him and disabling him. And then the supervillain does return in 2007 at the Clown at midnight as a cruel, enigmatic force who awakens to tries to kill Harley Quinn to prove to Batman that he has become more than human. Hi, Blair. In 2008, the story arc Batman R.I.P., the Joker is recruited by the Black Glove to destroy Batman, but betrays the group, as he does, and killing its members one by one. And then after Batman's apparent death in 2008 for The Final Crisis, Grayson investigates a series of murders which leads him to a disguised Joker. The Joker is then arrested, and then Robin Damian Wayne, not the other Robin, beats him with a crowbar, paralleling to Todd's murder. When the Joker escapes, he attacks the Black Glove again, burying its leader Simon Hurt alive after the supervillain considers him as a failure as an opponent, and the Joker is then defeated by the recently returned Batman. There's a lot. There is an absolute lot when you look at this the complexity and the changes of the Joker since 1940. There is quite a lot. It's very, very complex. In 2011, DC's New 52 relaunch of its titles following Flashpoint, the Joker has his own face cut off. Now that sounds like John Travolta on Face Off, I'm not going to lie. He disappears for a year and returns to launch an attack on Batman's extended family and the death of the family. So he and Batman can be the best hero and best villain that they ever can be. At the end of that storyline, the Joker falls off a cliff into the dark abyss, aptly basically making it as if the Joker had actually died, but you didn't actually see his body, so you can only speculate that he survived, of course. And of course, the Joker did return in 2014 with a storyline called Endgame as well, in which he brainwashes the Justice League into attacking Batman, believing he has betrayed their friendship. That's what they're calling it these days. The story implies that the Joker is immortal, having existed for centuries in Gotham as a cause of tragedy after exposure to a substance in the Joker's terms, Denoism, and is able to regenerate from mortal injuries. Oh, okay. Endgame restores the Joker's face and also reveals that he knows Batman's secret identity. And the story ends with the apparent death of Batman and the Joker at each other's hands, though it is revealed that they were both resurrected in a life-restoring Lazarus pit without their memories as well. So there is a lot of Jokers, if you think about it. I mean, it all depends on what Joker you prefer. Like I say, there is no such thing as the perfect Joker because they're all very, very different, but they do pull their roots in from the origin theories. Now, like I say, of course, there has been those theories, the vat of chemicals, the failed comedian, the Red Hood gang, which ultimately is tied into the vat of chemicals, the failed comedian, you know. It all depends on you, what you believe on to be the best story regarding the Joker. Now, for me, for many, many years, I always believed that it was the vat of chemicals. But because I grew up watching the likes of Tim Burton's Batman quite continuously, that's why I genuinely thought, oh, that's definitely the origin story. But when you actually delve into the story of the Joker himself, you actually see, well, hang on, there is a mystery to his origins, and you just need to speculate and take it with a pinch of salt. You either agree with it or you don't. How many times have you heard theories about conspiracy theories and things like that, and you don't agree with it, or, oh wait, I do agree with it? Well, it's quite similar in the case of the Joker. You either agree with it or you don't. Now, like I said, the Joker has had a huge impact on society for comic book lovers, DC fans, and of course film and TV and games as well. Now, I asked you a question earlier on, how many Jokers have there been officially named as Joker? And as it stands, I'm looking at 21 Jokers. So well done if you got very, very close. I think most people either said 20 or they said 8. And also a little bit of fact for you as well. See, when you think of the Joker, and I'm actually going to put this question up later on tonight, I want to know who the first person is that you think of the Joker. Because I done this test on Colin earlier on, and it worked. It did genuinely work. So I'm going to put this up, and I will tell you tomorrow why I have done this. So it'll be very, very interesting to see what your replies are. But that is pretty much it for tonight. This has been the history and the origins of the Joker. Now, I've already said to you as well, there has been many, many Jokers, but I will be doing full focus on Cesar Romero's, Jack Nicholson's, Mark Hamill's, Heath Ledger's, Jared Leto's, and Joaquin Phoenix's as well. So, I mean, see if I actually evaluated every single Joker that there's been, there wouldn't be enough time. There wouldn't definitely be enough time. And then there's some Jokers that you could just say maybe one or two things and then you could move on with it. So that they are the focal point of this week. Now, tomorrow night, your video will be later because I'm going to see an unlimited screening of Renee Zellweger's Judy film, which is hotly tipped for Oscar succession, so I can't miss that. But I will be on at 11 o'clock tomorrow night UK time, so that'll probably let the American fans jump in a little bit more easier for you all. To talk about the actors in more detail and a bit more about how the week goes on. I would also like to confirm that a couple of months ago, in fact I think it was last year, I was messaged on Instagram by an actor and a director who was making a film regarding the Joker as well, and it was a proper film / documentary type film. And I'm happy to announce that they have completed it, and I will be reviewing it as part of this week as well for them. So there's another the Joker incentive in there to see a fan's perspective of a Joker as well. So it'll be very, very interesting to see how that goes. So remember, there's already questions up, so please answer the questions if you haven't answered it. I will be starting the polls from tomorrow. We are going to do this infamous World Cup of Jokers. Now, I'm not going to be putting everybody into it. Like I say, there's about 21 people who have played the Joker. I'm going to put in the ones that most people would know. That there's no much point putting Michael Emerson in when about 75% of you don't even know that he actually played the Joker. You know, so there is going to be, I think I'm going to do about 12 of the Jokers, so that we can do that. And then not only are we going to do the greatest Joker, we are going to be doing polls on what makes the Joker so iconic. So you're talking about like the makeup, the smile, the green hair, the red lips, the costume, what's the best costume. So there's going to be quite a lot of polls coming your way. And it's basically research as well to see what actually you guys think of the Joker. So for Instagram fans, you will need to jump over to Facebook for these polls as well, because the polls are automatically percentage generated. So there's no point in you voting and I wouldn't be able to generate it in the automatic generation. So you would need to go over to Facebook for those polls if you want to interact. So if you want people to know about Joker Week, please share the Joker Week trailer, because that or the photograph that I made, the Photoshop picture that I did, and get everybody on the page, because I've had people coming up to me saying, yeah, good luck doing Joker Week. So there really is a lot of pressure on me here. I think Joker Week's going to be a very huge success, and it's already been a huge success after this day alone, and there's been hardly any activity on it. So that's saying something. Over the course of the week as well, I will probably be having a special guest as well. And you will be getting, I'll need to call him at one point through the week to carry one of my cameras for the live video, because I am showing everybody my posters and all my t-shirts as well regarding the Joker. So that's going to be very fun to what he's whispering. I know you didn't agree to it, but Colin, this is Joker Week, so everybody needs to see the Joker art work that is in this house. So you'll have to see all that as well. So I would like to thank you all for tuning in on me just blethering for about 33 minutes that's been on histories and origins of the Joker, and I will leave you with one question that I would like you all to answer. What has been the best origin theory, in your opinion, of the Joker? Remember, Joker movie is out in cinemas on Friday, so you better get your tickets. So thank you very much for joining in, and remember, send in the clowns. As usual, I'm Rosie Hughes, and this is Rosie Hughes Movie World. Thank you, and good night.